Welcome to this explainer. Okay, today we're diving into the absolute tactical extremes of international football. On one hand, you've got the grueling, frustrating reality of trying to break down an immovable object. And on the other, the exhilarating glory of an unstoppable force just firing on all cylinders. We're looking at two vastly different matches that perfectly showcase the duality of the beautiful game. Canada's gritty 1-1 draw against a resolute Bosnia, and the USA's explosive 4-1 demolition of Paraguay. The contrast is staggering, and the tactical takeaways are massive.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with a tale of two matches, then look at Bosnia's defensive masterclass, followed by Canada's finishing frustrations. After that, we're breaking down Pochettino's tactical brilliance, the USA's attacking clinic, and finally, what this means next.
Section 1. A tale of two matches. Let's set the stage here, because if you watched these two matches back-to-back, you honestly might have thought you were watching entirely different sports. Seriously, it was a masterclass in contrasting game states. On one side, you've got Canada against Bosnia. Canada had all the ball, but they were just grinding against this deeply entrenched low block. It led to some really wasteful finishing and a super frustrating 1-1 stalemate. Now contrast that with the US against Paraguay. Absolute night and day. The US put on a clinic in explosive fluidity. They just completely dismantled a poorly executed Paraguayan press with this rapid, one-touch vertical football. They were incredibly clinical, turning a low expected goals metric into a massive 4-1 output. It's that classic football dichotomy, right? Suffocating defense versus overwhelming offense.
Section 2, Bosnia's defensive masterclass. Now, what's really interesting about this number is that to truly grasp Canada's struggles, you have to look at it. 26. That is the total number of defensive contributions from literally one guy, Bosnian defender Emir Katic. Just think about that for a second. 26 distinct defensive interventions in a single match? That means you are essentially a one-man brick wall out there, reading every single pass, winning every duel, and just shutting down an entire attacking line single-handedly. But here's the crazy part. Katic didn't even do it alone. He was partnered by 23-year-old Maharamovic, who put up equally ridiculous numbers. So, Katic had 26 contributions and an incredible 16 clearances, right? Plus, he won 10 out of 15 aerial duels. Right alongside him, Maharamovic recorded 25 defensive contributions and a mind-blowing 21 clearances. Together, these two created an absolute chokehold on Canada. Add in two spectacular goal line clearances from the rest of the defense, including a massive one from Sad Kolasinac, and you start to realize Canada wasn't just missing chances, they were hitting a literal physical wall.
Moving on to Section 3, Canada's finishing frustrations.
The stats here really tell the story of a sluggish final third. Canada managed 38 touches inside the opposition box and generated an expected goals or XG rating of 1.25. So historically speaking, they created enough high-quality chances to score at least once, maybe more. But out of 13 total shots, only 4 were actually on target. Tani Olovisei skied a clear-cut opportunity on his favored left foot, and Jonathan David struck a point-blank chance right into the goalkeeper's hands. Look, when you have that much possession and that many touches in the most dangerous area of the pitch, you simply have to be more clinical. It actually took until the 78th minute for Canada to finally break through. And man, when they did, it was just pure striker's instinct. Substitute Promise David, who is this incredibly imposing physical presence, provided a brilliant flick into the box. Siler Larin receives it, and he pivots perfectly. He actually caught Maharamovic using his own physical momentum against him. Larin brilliantly turns that momentum, pivots on a dime, and just unleashes a stunning half volley. Honestly, a moment of magic like that was the only way they were ever going to break that Bosnian wall.
All right, let's shift gears. Section 4, Pochettino's tactical brilliance.
So, the crucial point is how this looked before the whistle even blew. On paper, the USA lineup looked like a pretty standard 4-2-3-1. You've got Antonee Robinson and Freeman on the defensive flanks, Tyler Adams anchoring the midfield as the defensive pivot, with Malik Tillman and Weston McKennie operating as dual number 8s. Up top, Christian Pulisic, Fuller and Balogun, and Serginho Dest. Looks pretty balanced, right? Well, the real magic happened the second that whistle blew.
Because as soon as the US won possession, that 4-2-3-1 completely shape-shifted. Antonee Robinson aggressively pushed way up the left flank, providing extreme width. This allowed the rest of the defense to slide over and basically form a back three. And guys, this was Pochettino's absolute tactical checkmate against Paraguay. Paraguay tried to press this back three using only a front two. Mathematically, it was a total disaster for them. The US easily formed simple passing triangles,
created 4-versus-1 isolations, and bypassed that Paraguayan press with staggering ease.
This is the perfect example of the mechanics of what we're calling poach ball. Because Robinson was providing all that width out left, Christian Pulisic was totally free to tuck inside and operate essentially as a second playmaker. Meanwhile, Balogun repeatedly dropped deep, dragging Paraguayan center backs completely out of position. And guess who benefited from all this empty space? Weston McKennie. Operating with incredible sharpness and honestly some surprising dribbling flair, McKennie just constantly made these late runs in behind the defense. It was this rapid, one-touch vertical football that literally left Paraguay chasing shadows.
Section 5, the USA's Attacking Clinic. 1.34. And this brilliantly illustrates the story of the game because that was the USA's expected goals for the entire match. Yet they walked away with a massive 4-1 victory. Scoring 4 times off an XG of just 1.34 tells you everything you need to know. They weren't relying on shot volume, they were relying on spectacular, world-class execution from low-probability positions.
I mean, just think about the quality of these goals. The first one was a textbook team move. A driving run, a perfectly weighted cutback from Pulisic, and just a blistering first-time finish from Balogun. Then you get a hilariously chaotic own goal from Paraguay's Bobadilla, which was entirely forced by the sheer suffocating pressure the U.S. was applying. And to top the whole thing off, Gio Reyna comes off the bench, finds himself totally unmarked in zone 14, that super dangerous area right outside the penalty box, and just channels absolute magic to curl an outside-of-the-foot strike right into the net. It was pure, ruthless execution. But hey, you don't get that kind of attacking freedom without an absolute engine in the midfield and out wide. Tyler Adams was a literal wall in the center. He won 7 out of his 10 duels, made very few passing errors, and just maintained total control. Meanwhile, out on the left flank, Antonee Robinson was a one-man wrecking crew. We're talking 86 touches, 6 accurate long balls, and he completely dominated his defensive duties with crucial clearances. This perfect balance, Adams' rock-solid stability paired with Robinson's sheer dominance, is what fueled this 4-1 demolition.
Section 6. What this means next.
So, we've really seen the tactical extremes today, haven't we? Canada's absolute grind and the USA's explosive glory. Looking ahead, Canada desperately needs to figure out how to be clinical when they dominate possession, especially with tricky matches against Qatar and Switzerland looming in their group. But honestly, the most fascinating question is for the United States. Sure, their attack looked completely unstoppable against a disjointed Paraguayan side, but their defense wasn't truly tested today. So here's the big question you should be taking away from this explainer. How will Pochettino's fluid, shape-shifting system actually hold up when they face a highly coordinated, physically aggressive Australian press in their next match? Will those simple passing lanes still be there, or are the spaces going to close up fast? That's exactly what we'll be watching for next time. Thanks for joining me on this explainer.